In light of the historical and contemporary models and the number of suggested theories, it's a struggle to come up with a hard and fast definition of economic development. Recent thinking on economic development has shifted the focus from attracting business to a practice more closely resembling community development, where efforts are concentrated on developing existing resources from within the community. Check out this TEDx video by Greg Taven entitled "Conventional Economic Development is Dead Wrong." He proposes that we think less about the economy and more about the human condition. This is supported by contemporary models of economic development, as outlined previously, as well as discussions with economic development practitioners, where the term community development or community economic development is often preferred to economic development. Going back to basic terms, economic development involves the creation and distribution of wealth. However, an increase in per capita income, GDP or gross domestic product, has not been found to correspond with an increase in social indicators. In fact, the neoclassical model of economic development may actually have a negative impact on social indicators. Some of the key lessons learned throughout 20th century history are: active government involvement leads to successful development outcomes. Societies without an active governmental role fail to develop. Capitalist economies are generally plagued with great social disparity without government involvement. Neoclassical economic theories did not lead to the economic success of certain regions within industrial countries. Development represents a transformation of society, a movement from traditional relations, traditional ways of thinking, traditional ways of dealing with health and education, and traditional methods of production. This transformation requires the following principles to operate across the board from the private and public sectors through to the community, family, and individual levels. 1. Development strategies that A. Set priorities, B. Coordinate, C. Build consensus, and 2. Society-wide change, as well as 3. Participation and ownership. Key ingredients that must be considered are: A. Resources. Functioning institutions to encourage savings, investment, and care of natural resources. B. Economic management. Equitable and fair policies that reach those that need the help. C. Knowledge management. Systems must be in place to manage resources, capital, and projects. D. Aligned strategies. Strategies must be coordinated to extend to regions, cities, rural areas, and communities. And E. Social and organizational capital. Institutions and relationships involved with transactional processes must be transformed gradually to avoid a gap in services while the transformation takes place. Managing the human side of economic development is critical. Individuals, communities, and regions do not start on a level playing field. The relative starting points are very different, which is very evident with First Nations in Canada. Not only is there disparity between Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities with regard to where they are coming from, but in most cases there are also huge differences between individual First Nation communities across Canada. For success to even be an option, the nature of these inequalities need to be identified and policy developed to address these inequalities. Coming up with a definition for economic development, then, forces us to decide on the model we propose to adopt. If we assume that we want to address inequalities, engage people at a human level, and create buy-in based on need and commitment, then we are talking about community economic development, a strategy that falls into the humanistic model. While historical economic development brings development to a community from the outside, community economic development, or CED, promotes development from the inside. The primary objective of community development is to promote, sustain, support, and maintain community action, to go forward towards defined goals with purposeful activity aimed at real achievement. Individuals in a community then become the architects and builders of their own future, influencing the future of their children and grandchildren.